The family of someone you love has been watching you from a distance, and something has shifted in how they see you. You're no longer just a name they've heard in passing, no longer just another person their family member is talking to, no longer someone they can dismiss or ignore. You've moved from being a curiosity to being a concern, from being temporary to being taken seriously, from being an outsider to being someone who might actually become part of their family. And that shift in perception has created conversations behind closed doors that you're not privy to, opinions being formed about you that no one has said to your face, preparations being made for a connection they now realize is more serious than they initially thought. Some of what they're saying and thinking about you is incredibly positive, some of it is cautiously skeptical, and some of it is downright protective resistance. But regardless of whether their current stance is supportive or suspicious, one thing is undeniable. They see you now as someone who has significant influence over their loved one's heart and future. You've gone from invisible to unavoidable, and the family is having to reckon with the reality that you might be the one, the person who changes everything, the outsider who becomes an insider, the stranger who becomes family. What shifted their perception wasn't just time passing or your relationship with their family member progressing naturally. Something specific happened, something you said or did or represented that made them sit up and pay attention in a completely different way. And what you need to understand right now is that their opinion of you, whether fair or unfair, is going to affect your relationship in ways you might not be prepared for. If your spirit is already alert because you've sensed this shift but couldn't articulate it, type "I believe" in the comments. Before we unpack exactly how this family sees you now and what it means for your future, subscribe to Prophetic Message channel and turn on notifications, because the insights being released here are exposing invisible dynamics that are shaping your relationships right now. And share this video with someone who's trying to win over their partner's family, because what you're about to learn will help them navigate these complex relational waters with wisdom instead of just hopping for the best. Let me tell you exactly what caused this family to start seeing you differently, because it wasn't random and it wasn't gradual. There was a moment, or a series of moments, where you revealed something about yourself that shifted their entire framework for understanding who you are. For some of you, it happened when their family member couldn't stop talking about you, when you became the main topic of conversation at family dinners, when every story somehow circled back to something you said or did. The family realized that their loved one isn't just interested in you, they're changed by you, influenced by you in ways that are undeniable. They're hearing your name more than they hear anyone else's name. They're seeing their family members smile differently when texting you. They're noticing that plans are being adjusted around your availability. And that consistent presence in conversations made the family understand that you're not a phase. You're a person of significance who's taken up residence in their loved one's heart and mind. For others of you, the shift happened when you met the family for the first time and you completely contradicted whatever assumptions they'd made about you. Maybe they expected someone your age to be immature, but you showed up with a maturity that impressed them. Maybe they expected someone with your background to be incompatible with their values, but you demonstrated character that aligned with what they've tried to instill in their family member. Maybe they expected to find flaws or red flags that would give them ammunition to discourage this relationship, but instead, they found themselves actually liking you, which complicated their initial resistance. That first meeting created a cognitive dissonance where what they expected and what they experienced didn't match, forcing them to recalibrate their assessment of you. For some of you, the shift happened when you did something for their family member that revealed the depth of your care, something sacrificial or thoughtful that couldn't be explained away as just trying to impress. Maybe you showed up for their family member during a crisis when you didn't have to, or you supported them through something difficult in ways that went beyond what a casual connection would do. Maybe you gave up something important to you to prioritize their family members' needs, or you demonstrated loyalty when it would have been easier to walk away. The family saw that action and realized you're not playing games. You're genuinely invested in their family members' well-being in ways that indicate serious intention. Still others of you, the shift happened when the family did their research on you, looked you up online, asked around about you, investigated your background, your reputation, your history. And what they found either exceeded their expectations or, at minimum, didn't reveal the disqualifying information they were hoping to find to justify their skepticism. They were looking for reasons to dismiss you and couldn't find enough ammunition, which forced them to consider that maybe, just maybe, you're actually a good match for their loved one. Proverbs 27 verse 19 says, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." Your life has been reflecting your heart to this family, and what they're seeing in the reflection is making them realize you're someone who needs to be taken seriously. Whether they like what they're seeing or they're concerned about it, they can no longer pretend you don't matter or that this relationship is insignificant. If this is already hitting home, hit that like button and comment, "I trust God." Now let me break down the specific ways this family currently sees you, because their perception of you falls into several distinct categories. First, some family members see you as the answer to their prayers, the person they've been hoping would come into their loved one's life. These are the people who have watched their family members struggle through bad relationships, settle for less than they deserved, or stay single too long when they clearly wanted partnership. They see qualities in you that they prayed for, character traits they asked God to bring into their family members' life, stability or faith or kindness or ambition that's been missing in previous connections. When they look at you, they see answered prayer, and their response is gratitude mixed with protective hope that this works out and doesn't become another disappointment. These family members are your advocates, the ones who are already mentally planning your place in family gatherings, the ones who are speaking well of you when you're not around. They're telling their loved one things like, "Don't mess this up," or "This one is different, hold on to them," or "I really like them, I hope this is serious." Their endorsement carries weight, and if you have these people in your corner, you have a significant advantage because family approval often influences relationship decisions more than people admit. Second, some family members see you as a threat to the status quo, someone who's going to disrupt the family dynamic they've grown comfortable with. These are the people who had their loved one in a certain role in the family, and your presence is threatening to change that role in ways they're not ready for. Maybe their loved one has been the caretaker of aging parents, and if they commit to you, they might move away or have less availability for family obligations. Maybe their loved one has been the fun single sibling who's always available for family events, and your relationship means they'll prioritize you over spontaneous family plans. Maybe their loved one has been financially supporting family members, and if they build a life with you, those financial resources will be redirected toward your shared future instead of extended family needs. These family members aren't necessarily against you personally, they're against what you represent: change, loss of access, disruption of patterns they've relied on. Their resistance isn't really about you, it's about them protecting their own interests, but you're going to experience their resistance as personal criticism or subtle sabotage. They're the ones making comments like, "Are you sure they're really right for you?" or "Don't rush into anything," or highlighting any small flaw they can find to plant seeds of doubt. Third, some family members see you as someone who's not good enough for their loved one, someone who doesn't meet their standards or expectations. These are the people who have a very specific picture of who their family member should be with, and you don't fit that picture for various reasons. Maybe they wanted their family member to marry within a specific cultural or ethnic background, and you're outside that category. Maybe they wanted their family member to be with someone who has a certain level of education, income, or social status that you don't have. Maybe they had hopes of their family member marrying someone they already know, someone from their church or community, and you're an outsider they didn't select. Maybe they're simply protective to an unhealthy degree, and no one would ever be good enough in their eyes because they see their family member as too precious to share. These family members are looking for your flaws, highlighting your differences, questioning your motives, making their loved one feel guilty for choosing you. They're not going to be easily won over because their resistance is rooted in prejudice, unrealistic expectations, or unhealthy attachment to their family member. Fourth, some family members see you as a mystery they're trying to solve, someone who they can't quite figure out yet, and that unknown makes them cautious. These are the people who are withholding judgment, asking questions, observing carefully, trying to determine if you're genuine or if you're hiding something. They're not against you, but they're not for you yet either. They're in a waiting stance where they're gathering information before they commit to an opinion. Their questions might feel like interrogation, their observation might feel like surveillance, but it's actually their way of protecting someone they love while also being fair to you. If you're patient with their process, if you remain consistent in character, if you don't get defensive about their scrutiny, you can win these people over. But if you react with hostility to their caution or try to rush their trust, you'll confirm their worst suspicions that you're hiding something or you're not as solid as you appear. Luke 6 verse 45 says, "A good man brings good things out of the good stored up in his heart, and an evil man brings evil things out of the evil stored up in his heart. For the mouth speaks what the heart is full of." What you speak, how you respond to their scrutiny, what comes out of you under pressure is revealing your heart to this family. If your heart is good, if your intentions are pure, if your character is solid, that's going to become evident over time regardless of their initial skepticism. But if you're performing, if you're hiding parts of yourself, if you're being strategic instead of authentic, they're going to sense it even if they can't articulate what feels off. Share this message if it's speaking to your situation and comment, "In God's timing." Now let me tell you what this family is specifically saying about you behind closed doors when you're not around. Some family members are saying you're too young or too old for their loved one, that the age gap is concerning or inappropriate. They're questioning whether you're in the same life stage, whether you have compatible goals, whether the age difference will create problems down the road. If you're younger, they're worried you're not mature enough, not established enough, not ready for the commitment their family member needs. If you're older, they're worried about fertility issues if children are desired, about you being set in your ways, about their family member missing out on growing up together with someone. These age-based concerns are often a cover for deeper anxieties, so addressing the age directly won't solve the problem. You have to address the underlying fears. Some family members are saying you're moving too fast or too slow with their loved one, that the pace of the relationship is concerning. If you're moving fast, they're worried about infatuation overriding wisdom, about their family member getting swept up without thinking clearly. If you're moving slow, they're worried you're not serious, that you're wasting their family member's time, that you're keeping options open instead of committing. You can't win this one because different family members will have different opinions about ideal pace, so trying to please everyone will just paralyze the relationship. Some are saying you're too religious or not religious enough, that your faith level doesn't match what they hoped for their family member. If you're very devout, they might see you as extreme, judgmental, or potentially controlling their family member through spiritual manipulation. If you're not devout enough, they see you as someone who will pull their family member away from faith, create spiritual compromise, or lead them into worldly patterns. The truth is, if your relationship with God is real and your influence on their family member is drawing them closer to God, not further away, the fruit will eventually speak for itself. Some are questioning your financial stability, your career trajectory, your ability to provide for or contribute to a household. They're looking at your current situation and projecting forward, wondering if you have what it takes to build a secure future. If you're still establishing yourself, they see risk and instability that concerns them. If you're already established, they might wonder if you're too focused on career, not willing to prioritize relationship and family. Money conversations are awkward, but they're important, and how you handle discussions about finances will either calm their concerns or confirm them. Some are questioning your past, your previous relationships, your reputation, things they've heard or found out about your history. They're wondering if you've been married before, how many serious relationships you've had, why those ended, what patterns might repeat. They're concerned about any red flags in your background, legal issues, moral failures, character questions that might predict future problems. If you have a complicated past, hiding it will make it worse when it eventually comes out, but oversharing too soon can overwhelm them. The key is honest conversation with their family member first, then strategic transparency with family members who have earned the right to know your story. Some are questioning your intentions, wondering if you genuinely love their family member or if you have ulterior motives. Maybe they think you're after money if their family member has financial resources you don't. Maybe they think you want a green card if there are citizenship differences. Maybe they think you're trying to upgrade your social status by attaching yourself to their family. These suspicions are insulting and hurtful, but getting defensive will only make you look guilty. The only way to combat questioned motives is through consistent character over time that proves your heart is genuine. Proverbs 20 verse 6 says, "Many claim to have unfailing love, but a faithful person who can find." You have to be the faithful person who can be found, the one whose actions over time prove that your love is genuine and your commitment is real. Words are cheap. Family members have heard plenty of people claim to love their family member. They need to see faithfulness demonstrated through seasons and circumstances. Let me address the family members who are outright opposing this relationship and what's driving their resistance. Some are operating from past trauma. They've seen their family member get hurt before, and they're trying to prevent another heartbreak. Their opposition isn't really about you. It's about their fear that history will repeat, that their family member will be devastated again, and they'll have to pick up the pieces. They're building walls because they're still wounded from watching their loved ones suffer, and those walls are about protection, not about judgment of your character specifically. If you can understand that their resistance is rooted in love and fear rather than malice, you can approach them with empathy rather than defensiveness. Showing them that you're aware of their family members' past pain and you're committed to not adding to it can sometimes soften their stance. Some are operating from control issues. They're used to having significant influence over their family members' decisions, and you represent a loss of that control. These family members have enmeshed relationships where boundaries are blurry and their family members' independence threatens their sense of identity. They've positioned themselves as the most important voice in their family member's life, and romantic partnership naturally displaces that primacy. You cannot win these people over, because winning them over would require you to stay in a subordinate position to them, which is unhealthy for adult relationships. Your loved one is going to have to establish boundaries with these family members, and that process is going to be painful and cause temporary family conflict. Your job is to support your loved one in that boundary setting without trash-talking their family, which will only make things harder. Some are operating from prejudice, biases about your race, ethnicity, socioeconomic background, or other demographic factors they view as incompatible. These family members might never say it directly, but their comments will reveal their bias through coded language and concerns that all point back to you being different from them. They'll dress up their prejudice as practical concerns. Your cultures are too different, or you were raised so differently, or I just don't think you'd fit into our family. What they mean is, you're not like us and we don't want you in our family because we value sameness. You cannot argue someone out of prejudice, and trying to prove yourself worthy to a prejudiced person is degrading and futile. If their family member loves you, they're going to have to make a choice between pleasing prejudiced family members or building a life with you. It's painful, it will create family fractures, but adults have to make adult choices even when those choices disappoint people they love. Some are operating from religious rigidity. They have a very specific theological framework, and you don't fit it for various doctrinal reasons. Maybe you're from a different denomination or stream of Christianity, and they view that as unequally yoked. Maybe you're a believer, but you interpret certain doctrines differently than they do, and they see that as dangerous compromise. Maybe you're newer in faith, and they wanted their family member to be with someone who's been walking with God longer. Religious disagreements can be some of the most entrenched because people believe they're fighting for someone's soul, not just expressing preferences. If you can find common ground on essential doctrines and show respect for their concerns even while disagreeing on secondary issues, some of these people can be reasoned with. But some are so rigid that no amount of theological conversation will satisfy them. And again, your loved one will have to choose whether their family's religious stamp of approval is a requirement for their relationship. Ephesians 6 verse 12 reminds us, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." Some of the family resistance you're facing isn't just human preference. There's spiritual warfare happening because the enemy knows that if you and your loved one come together, you'll do kingdom damage. So while you're navigating human family dynamics, don't forget to fight the spiritual battle through prayer, warfare, binding and losing, taking authority over schemes meant to divide. Every argument that erupts at family gatherings, every misunderstanding that gets blown out of proportion, every casual comment that somehow cuts deep, recognize the enemy's hand in magnifying division. Fight the real enemy, not the family members who are being used as mouthpieces for demonic resistance to your God-ordained connection. Comment, "I receive this word," if you're committing to fight spiritually while navigating naturally. Now let me tell you what you need to do strategically to win over the family members who are persuadable while protecting yourself from those who aren't. First, honor your loved one's family even when they're not honoring you, because your character in the face of their criticism will speak louder than your words in moments of their approval. Don't talk badly about their family to them, even when their family talks badly about you to them. Don't force them to choose between you and their family in every conflict. Save that ultimatum for truly necessary moments. Don't feed into family drama by responding to every slight. Sometimes dignified silence is more powerful than justified defensiveness. When you honor their family, even when it's not reciprocated, you're demonstrating the kind of character that eventually even critics have to respect. Second, give the family time to adjust to your presence. Understand that their resistance might be more about transition than about you specifically. You're representing change, and human beings resist change even when the change is good. Be patient with their process. Don't demand immediate acceptance. Let your consistent presence over months and years do the work that forcing won't accomplish. Show up at family events even when it's uncomfortable. Be present even when you're not fully welcomed yet. Let them get used to you being part of the picture. Third, find allies within the family and invest in those relationships intentionally. There's usually at least one family member who's supportive, who sees your value, who's willing to advocate for you. That might be a sibling who recognizes you make their brother or sister happy, or a parent who's more open-minded, or a grandparent who just wants to see their grandchild settled and content. Whoever it is, invest time in building relationship with them, let them see your heart, ask them for wisdom about how to navigate the family dynamics. These allies can speak into closed ears in ways you can't. They can defend you in conversations you're not part of. They can slowly shift family opinion through their endorsement. Fourth, be strategic about how much access you give resistant family members to your relationship. Not every family member needs to know every detail about your relationship. Not every opinion needs to be solicited or considered. If there's a family member who's consistently negative, constantly critical, always finding fault, you don't have to keep giving them ammunition. Limit what you share with them, keep interactions pleasant but surface. Don't give them intimate access they'll weaponize against you. Protect your relationship from people who are trying to destroy it, even if those people are family. Fifth, prove your commitment through action, not just words. Because family members have heard plenty of people claim to love their family member and then disappear when things got hard. Show up when it's inconvenient, sacrifice when it costs you something, stay consistent when you could walk away, be reliable when you'd rather be flexible. Let your actions speak louder than any speech you could give about your intentions. When family members see you choose their loved one repeatedly, when they watch you handle conflict maturely, when they observe you weathering storms instead of running, their opinion will shift. Proverbs 3 verse 3-4 says, "Let love and faithfulness never leave you, bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favor and a good name in the sight of God and man." Love and faithfulness, demonstrated consistently over time, wins favor even from resistant people. You're not trying to manipulate favor, you're earning respect through character, and character takes time to reveal itself. Let me tell you what your loved one needs from you during this season of family scrutiny. First, they need you to be patient with their family without making them feel guilty for their family's behavior. They didn't choose their family, they love their family despite flaws, and they're caught in the middle of people they love being in conflict. Don't make them feel like they have to apologize for their family constantly or defend you constantly. That emotional labor is exhausting. Instead, reassure them that you understand families are complicated, that you're committed to them regardless of family approval, that you're willing to work for acceptance but not desperate for it. Second, they need you to be honest about how their family's treatment is affecting you without weaponizing that honesty to force them to choose. You can say it hurts when your mom says things like that, without saying your mom is toxic and you need to cut her off. You can express your feelings without demanding they solve the problem by taking your side against their family. Give them space to navigate the complexity of loving both you and their family, even when those loves are in tension. Third, they need you to demonstrate that you're secure enough in yourself and in your relationship that their family's opinion doesn't control you. If you're constantly seeking family approval, constantly adjusting yourself to try to please them, constantly stressed about what they think, you're actually showing insecurity. But if you're consistent in who you are regardless of family reception, if you're kind but not performing, if you're open but not desperate, that security is attractive and stabilizing. Your loved one needs to see that you're not going to fall apart if their family doesn't immediately embrace you, because that resilience reassures them you can handle the long-term challenges of merging families. Fourth, they need you to pray for their family and mean it, not pray against their family disguised as prayer for them. Pray for healing in family relationships, pray for softened hearts, pray for God to reveal truth, pray for protection over family dynamics. Don't pray God, change them because they're wrong. Pray God, bring unity, give wisdom, help us all see clearly. When your loved one knows, you're genuinely praying for their family's good, not just praying for your own agenda, it deepens their trust in your character. Fifth, they need you to set boundaries with them about what you will and won't tolerate, because watching you be mistreated by their family is painful for them too. If their family crosses lines that are inappropriate, you need to speak up, not to cause drama, but to establish what's acceptable. That might mean saying, "I'm not comfortable with that kind of comment," or "I need to leave this conversation if it continues in this direction." Your loved one might initially resist your boundaries, worried it will make things worse, but over time, they'll respect that you respect yourself enough to not accept abuse. 1 Peter 3 verse 15 says, "But in your hearts, revere Christ as Lord. Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks you to give the reason for the hope that you have. But do this with gentleness and respect." You can defend yourself, set boundaries, speak truth, but do it with gentleness and respect, not with hostility and contempt. The way you handle resistance will either confirm their family's worst fears about you or contradict them with evidence of your maturity. Share this video if it's helping you navigate your situation and comment, "I trust God." Now let me address what happens if your loved one's family never comes around, if the resistance continues indefinitely despite your best efforts. Some families don't soften, some families remain opposed, some families will choose estrangement over acceptance, and you need to be prepared for that possibility. If your loved one is an adult and they choose to build a life with you despite family opposition, they're choosing you over their family's approval, and that choice comes with grief. They'll grieve the family unity they wanted, the approval they hoped for, the easy integration they imagined. That grief is real and valid, and you need to hold space for it without taking it personally or seeing it as regret about choosing you. They can simultaneously be confident in their choice of you while grieving the cost of that choice. Those aren't contradictory feelings. Your job is to make sure that what they're building with you is worth what they're losing with their family, which means you have to be excellent to them. You can't be mediocre in your love, inconsistent in your character, selfish in your behavior, and expect them to keep choosing you over family long-term. If they're sacrificing family peace to be with you, honor that sacrifice by being someone worth sacrificing for. Some families eventually come around after years, after marriage, after grandchildren, after seeing the relationship last and produce good fruit. Time has a way of wearing down resistance, proving skeptics wrong, softening even hard hearts when the relationship they opposed turns out to be healthy and lasting. If you're patient, if you maintain your character, if you keep showing up with grace even when you're not welcomed warmly, you might eventually win over people who seem immovable now. But don't live your life waiting for their approval. Don't put milestones on hold hoping they'll come around. Build your life with your loved one and let family approval be a bonus, not a requirement. Some families never come around, and you have to make peace with that reality, grieve it, and move forward anyway. This is where strong boundaries become essential, where your loved one has to decide how much influence disapproving family members get to have over your lives. Maybe that means limited contact, surface-level relationships, keeping certain family members at arm's length to protect your marriage. It's sad, it's not ideal, but sometimes it's necessary when family members refuse to respect your relationship or treat you with basic human decency. And sometimes families split into factions, with some members supportive and others opposed, creating complex dynamics that require careful navigation. You might have great relationships with siblings while barely speaking to parents, or vice versa. You might be welcomed at some family gatherings and excluded from others. It's messy, it's uncomfortable, but it's reality for many couples who didn't get the fairy tale of unanimous family support. Luke 12 verse 52 through 53 says, "From now on there will be 5 in one family divided against each other, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. They will be divided, father against son and son against father, mother against daughter and daughter against mother." Jesus himself predicted that following him and obeying his leading would sometimes create family division. So family conflict over relationship choices isn't a sign you're making the wrong choice. Sometimes the right choice is the one that causes friction because it challenges family patterns, family expectations, family control that needed to be challenged. Don't assume family opposition automatically means you're wrong. Sometimes it means you're right, and their discomfort is about them, not about you. Let me tell you what to watch for as red flags that suggest maybe the family resistance is valid and you need to examine yourself. If multiple family members who don't know each other well are all independently seeing the same concerns in you, pay attention to that pattern. One person being critical could be their issue, but if different people with different perspectives are all noticing similar red flags, that's worth examining honestly. Maybe there's truth in their concerns that you're defending against because you don't want to face it. If your loved one's character, behavior, or relationship with God has noticeably declined since being with you, that's a serious red flag. Healthy relationships bring out the best in both people, challenge them to grow, encourage them toward their potential. If family members are seeing their loved one become less themselves, more stressed, more compromised in values, more distant from God, you need to ask yourself if you're the problem. Sometimes we're so convinced we're right that we are blind to the negative impact we're actually having. If you find yourself isolating your loved one from family, discouraging contact, being jealous of their time with family, creating division where it didn't exist before, you're operating in control, not love. Abusers isolate their victims from support systems, and if family is raising concerns about isolation patterns, take that seriously. Healthy love encourages connection, fosters family relationships, supports your partner being well connected to people who love them. If you feel threatened by their family relationships, that's your issue to address, not their problem to fix by cutting family off. If you're refusing to take any responsibility for conflict, always positioning yourself as the victim, never acknowledging any way you might be contributing to family tension, that's concerning. Family conflict is rarely 100% one-sided, and mature people can acknowledge their contribution even while maintaining their boundaries. If you can't admit any fault, if you're always the innocent party being unfairly attacked, you're likely operating in denial and defensiveness. If your loved one is being put in impossible positions where they have to lie to family about you, hide aspects of the relationship, or constantly mediate between you and their family, something is off. Healthy relationships don't require that level of management, sneaking around, or constant damage control. If that's your reality, either you're doing something concerning that's creating legitimate family alarm, or the family is genuinely toxic, and your loved one needs professional help navigating that, or both. James 1 verse 5 says, "If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you." If you're unsure whether family concerns are valid or unfounded, ask God directly, with a genuinely open heart to hear truth, even if it's uncomfortable. God will give you wisdom. He'll show you if there are legitimate issues you need to address. He'll also confirm if you're being unfairly judged and need to stand firm. But you have to be willing to hear either answer, not just looking for God to validate the answer you've already decided is correct. Now let me speak to those of you whose loved one's family absolutely adores you, where this message is describing the opposite of your experience. You're watching this thinking, "The family loves me, they accepted me immediately, they've welcomed me with open arms." First, thank God for that gift, Because it's not everyone's experience, family approval is a blessing that makes relationship building significantly easier. Second, don't take that acceptance for granted or become careless with it. Continue honoring their family, showing up well, proving they were right to embrace you. Acceptance can be lost if you start taking advantage of it, if you become complacent in your character, if you stop earning the place you've been given. Third, use your position of favor to speak well of others who are struggling to be accepted, to advocate for understanding, to model graciousness. Your easy experience doesn't mean others are doing something wrong. Sometimes family dynamics are just different. Sometimes resistance has nothing to do with the person's character. Don't judge people who are struggling with family acceptance as if their struggle proves they're problematic. Let me pray over everyone navigating complicated family dynamics in their relationship. Father, we bring before you the families of people we love, families who are forming opinions, making judgments, speaking words that carry weight. For those families who are supportive, we thank you and ask that you continue to knit these people together into unified family units. For those families who are resistant, we ask for softened hearts, opened eyes, willingness to see beyond their initial assumptions. We pray for the people watching this who are trying to win family approval. Give them wisdom to know when to fight and when to release, when to pursue and when to let go. Help them honor families while not being controlled by families, respect elders while not being imprisoned by their opinions. For those whose loved ones are caught in the middle, give them wisdom to navigate loving both their partner and their family well. Show them how to set boundaries without severing relationships, how to stand firm without being aggressive. We cancel every assignment of the enemy to use family resistance to destroy relationships that are from you. We declare that what you have joined, family opposition cannot separate. We pray for breakthrough in family dynamics, for unity where there's division, for understanding where there's judgment. And we trust that you're working all things together for good for those who love you and are called according to your purpose. In Jesus' name, Amen. Type Amen if you're standing in faith for family breakthrough. Here's what you need to do right now. Hit the like button if this message spoke truth to your situation. Subscribe to Prophetic Message channel and turn on notifications for more wisdom on navigating complex relationship dynamics. Share this with someone who's trying to win over their partner's family and needs encouragement. And if you feel led to support this ministry, use the Super Thanks button or join our membership through the link in the description. The bottom line is this: the family of someone you love now sees you as someone who matters, someone significant, someone who can't be ignored or dismissed. How they're responding to that realization varies, some with welcome, some with caution, some with resistance. Your job isn't to win everyone over, it's to be consistent in character, patient in process, wise in navigation, and faithful in your commitment to the person you love. Family opinion matters, but it doesn't get final say over adult relationship choices. Honor families, respect their concerns, listen to their wisdom, but ultimately follow God's direction even when it contradicts family preference. Some families will come around, some won't, some will partially support and partially resist. Navigate it all with grace, maturity, and unwavering commitment to the person God has given you. The family of someone you love sees you now, and what they see is going to matter, but it doesn't have to define or limit what God is building. Comment blessed and ready if you're ready to navigate family dynamics with wisdom and grace. Thank you for being here, for having the courage to face these complex family situations with faith instead of fear. I'm praying for breakthrough in every family dynamic represented here, for softened hearts and opened minds. You're not alone in this journey. God is with you, and He's working even in resistant hearts. Stay blessed, stay wise, stay committed to what God has for you. I'll see you in the next message.